In fact, if that level of intervention is heard again, I had warned members once, then members will be asked to leave the House. Supplementary question, John Key.
Can the Prime Minister confirm that it really doesn't matter what comes out of the Privileges Committee, it really doesn't matter what comes out of the SFO in relation to the allegations against Winston Peters, and it wouldn't really matter what came out of the police because the Prime Minister isn't going to sack Winston Peters, because if she did, she'd be sacking him for the stupidity of getting caught. She arranged the loan through Mike Williams. She's up to her neck in it, and why doesn't she just admit it? She's not an innocent bystander.
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Madam Speaker, all I can say is that member can talk about getting caught because he's been caught red-handed, claiming he never spoke in this House while he was an owner of Transrail shares, when he was peppering the Minister of Finance with questions and buying and selling shares at a profit through that time. Madam Speaker, he stands accused of not being clear and concise, to the point, straightforward in this House.
Supplementary question, Madam Speaker.
Supplementary question,
Speaker.
the Honourable Dr Michael Cullen. Order!
Madam Speaker, pardon?
You can talk.
Well, the men would have been busted long ago if that were true. Madam Speaker, can the Prime Minister confirm the Leader Opposition just said that Mike Williams arranged the donation from Mr Glenn, but the entire case of the majority in the Select Committee is that Mr Peters asked Mr Glenn for the donation? And if Mr Key is correct, then how come a majority arrived at a decision on contempt?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Madam Speaker, just more evidence that the Leader of the Opposition makes it up, Madam Speaker, just like he made up the idea that he was going to run a clean campaign when Dr Smith and Mr English are at meetings in Nelson telling smutty jokes about the Deputy Prime Minister as part of their dirty, filthy, unclean campaign.
Order! Supplementary question, Rodney Hyde. Order. I've called the member.
Sorry, Madam Speaker, I couldn't hear. Thank you, Madam Speaker. To the Prime Minister. Is the Prime Minister telling the public of New Zealand that it's acceptable to her to have a minister that's running a secret trust that is not known to his party?
Point of order, the Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Madam Speaker, it has been made very clear to the Select Committee that that allegation is totally false. Now, I shouldn't have to have him corrected, but that's the kind of thing he's been doing around this country for months now. The committee all knows, including his own member, Heather Roy, that that is false. So would you ask him to desist from telling the House porkies?
Well, with the member who's asking the question, please make his question succinct and get to the point of it, please. Rodney Hyde.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Is the Prime Minister telling the people of New Zealand that it's okay for a minister in her government to have money go into a trust that was meant for New Zealand First, to have money come from secret donors to the tune of $40,000, not declared under the electoral laws, not declared in the pecuniary interests, and to pay that minister's legal bills as reported to the Privileges Committee, as reported.
Would the member just ask his question?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I will ask my question. As reported to the Privileges Committee by the Serious Fraud Office. Is that acceptable?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Madam Speaker, I've got no reason to believe that Mr Peters knew any less about the Spencer Trust than Mr Key knew about the Waitemata Trust, which he personally raised money for, Madam Speaker. But further, I have been advised by the senior Labor representatives on the committee that it is not reasonable to hold someone in contempt for a retrospective ruling on what is a gift. And, Madam Speaker, if that were to be the case, I look forward to Nick Smith and Bob Clarkson now declaring their gifts on exactly the same basis, which they have not done. You did not.
Supplementary question. A point of order. Order! Point of order, the Right Honourable
Yes, a point
Prime
of order,
Minister.
Madam Speaker. I said that Mr Smith had not declared a gift. It is my understanding that his return does not show the declaration of a gift. He declared he was a beneficiary of a trust. He did not declare that he received a gift from that trust.
Point of order, the Honourable Dr Nick Smith.
Madam Speaker, I seek leave to table the letter I received this morning on this very issue, where Dale Jones laid a letter of complaint in which you have dismissed the complaint.
Leave is sought to, for that document. Is there any objection? Yes, there is objection. Supplementary question, the Honourable Jim Anderton. Order!
Supplementary, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Jim Anderton.
Madam Speaker, to the Prime Minister, why should she take any account whatever of the accusations that Mr Key has made against her and others over this political donations issue, when every single thing he has said about his own share transactions in Transrail has proved to be false on almost every occasion?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Madam Speaker, the member raises a fair point, because we now cannot believe anything Mr Key said in this House or to the news media, who have him on tape on the issue of his Transrail shares, which, I repeat, he bought and sold a portion of at a profit while he was peppering the Minister of Finance with questions in this House and through the Official Information Act. Madam Speaker, Mr Key failed to declare his interest in Transrail, and that, in my understanding, is not acceptable behaviour for a member.
Supplementary question, the Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Has the Prime Minister received any reports of a present MP who, when then the president of a political party, failed to disclose the interest in a trust called the Cargill Trust for $1.7 million, a matter which went all the way to the Privy Council and found against that party? And is that MP Mr Rodney Hyde?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Madam Speaker, I'm not
Order!
I'm not personally aware of that allegation, but I'm all ears.
Supplementary question, Rodney Hyde.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. To the Prime Minister, does she accept the Serious Fraud Office evidence that $40,000 was given by one donor to the Spencer Trust, which was then paid?
Point of order, the Right Honourable
Madam
Winston
Speaker,
Peters.
the Privileged Committee heard no such evidence at all, and Heather Roy, his colleague, can tell him that. So would you please tell him to stop telling the House what is plainly false?
Rodney Hyde.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Does the Prime Minister accept that the serious fraud evidence was that $40,000 was paid by one anonymous donor to the Spencer Trust?
Point of order.